Okay.
want to tell you something weird. I have more
So
Eva than the Mastiff.
I
But
said I was gonna do this video, and I've
every
already messed
Mastiff
up
has
this
unique.
recording because I have my mic way too close to my face. So you guys are hearing something so loud it's rattling the actual thing. So I'm sorry about that for the start of the video. This is just me afterwards, so I'm going to be going around a lot of subjects. Um, as of right now, it is the Dress to Kill event, and that's when this was taken, as you can tell by my banner and everything. Um, I said I was going to make another one of these videos where I show my progression this season, I guess, and how I said that this was our best this season, and I was going through a bunch of updates and stuff, and I mentioned Revenant Reborn, which was another thing, which is just something I want to touch up on, is that now there's a bunch of more information about it, and I'm already just like, hey, I'm not too sure about that, buddy. I realized a lot of the time I enjoy having Revenant's abilities. Um, it's really nice having his current abilities. Like even in this game, if it wasn't for his totem and me solo ulting myself, I wouldn't have won the game. I hate to say it, but I would have never won this game actually because of what
I'm
I
whiffed a
do at
lot
the
with
end of the
it.
game. And I'll
The
probably
one
say
key thing
something
I've
about
learned is like
the
sometimes you need a single fire to kill them by
ability,
hitting their
his
shield.
ultimate ability, which
One of those things.
I also it's also like another thing I realized. There was a leaked there was game files leaked about the new Revenant Reborn stuff and his abilities, and it's a new tactical and a new passive and what looks like a new ultimate. But the tactical I don't think is changed. I think it's improved. And the reason why I say that because in the game files it's how it's worded. Interesting thing about them labeling things is that they label things and it's rarely ever what the actual ability is actually called. It's always something different. It's kind of like the same situation with instead of getting Forge we get Revenant in the files. So like Revenant Reborn could be something complete. Who knows? Revenant Reborn could be a complete throw through the loop and could be completely different legend that we never even expected. But people have been saying like this skin that I'm currently wearing, which is Former Glory. It looks like the Fade skin from the mobile game. And I hate to say I hate to to not say this, but like I kind of get it.
From
It
using
looks like it,
Revenant in
but
Mirage.
at the same time, a lot of people
Gives
say
you
no.
limited
So
healing.
I don't whether it does or not. It's up to anyone. But I think it looks like the Fade skin, and it kind of reminds me of the leaks that were made earlier on this season, which also were about Revenant Reborn. So the Revenant Reborn was supposed to have the ultimate ability, just like how Fade has the ultimate ability to put you in a so-called gauntlet zone
He
where
dropped a
they
mine
can't
on me
damage you,
somewhere.
you can't damage them, but you can get out of a thing. And I can already think of like ways I would implement it, but like if I had a team pushing me or
I'll
chasing
keep
me,
the
I would
air
do
taking
the
out
ultimate to
attacks
avoid
in
getting damage
mod
that I don't
though
need
from
and
on
then get into
site and
cover and
lava site.
possibly escape, but that's the only thing I can find about an ultimate like that being as useful to me
It would be
because
perfect
a
in
lot of
mid
the
zones.
times the abilities that it like that are just they're not good. I feel like because as of right now, Revenant
Late zone
sits
is
in the
good,
mid
but
zone of
then
being a
also
really
you got
strong legend and really good
anti-stun
legend
him hitting
to being a very weak
bats.
and terrible legend. And that's coming from someone who's been
No, just
playing him
rotate the
for
time so
years
you can
now.
do it at the same time.
And I hate that I can say that.
Just take a wider rotation
At the
so you
same
can
time, I have,
not lose
and I've
time.
been playing Revenant since his launch back in around I think
The ring will be right there, and then
2020, 2019, around in there.
the next beacon will show
Um,
you
I've been playing him
that Revenant
since
is rotating in for the next ring.
his launch, and it's kind of shocking in a way how far he's come. I remember when his ultimate actually had a ring and you couldn't go out far the ring. The totem would last for like around, I think, over 10 seconds.
The amount of time it took our teammate to get over here, it took me to walk.
And he had only one tactical, so you would actually have to throw his tactical and just know that you're using it, in other words, because sometimes I think it could have been your lifeline, because at the time I believe there was a lot of the legends back then were really unbalanced and really strong. Around the same time, we got Octane's heirloom and everything else, and he got a buff where his tactical ability, as you can see here, is now 2. So you can throw 2 tacticals, and I use them every single time. I throw 2 of them, but I'll get 1 back before I'll need another one, so I'll always have it. I throw 2 because I'm always doing area cancels, because that is what I find his tactical to be useful as, more than it is as its intended use. His tactical as an intended use is supposed to silence the enemy. You're supposed to throw it on the enemy and then silence them. But my tactical, I never use Revenant's tactical ability to actually do what it's intended to do, and I always end up using it as an area cancel to make sure nobody pushes a certain zone or a certain area. So if, like you see here where that door is, if there was a team there, I would attack the door, back off, try to heal up or res whoever needs to be res. It's normally like the way I separate the fight and push people away from me. In other words, I create space every time I go and I do that tactical. Which reminds me, I was watching this short earlier, and there was a thing about like Dr. Disrespect and some other dude complaining about like Apex being the crappiest. It was like the only reason why you don't like Apex because you don't know how to play. That's how I saw the video, and that was just me going through shorts, and I don't know why it popped up, but me not getting distracted. That is pretty much the gist of it. I don't know why I went over here. So what happens in a couple of seconds that I end up dying because I went and I pushed up over here, and I get mad. I ping enemies, I ping that I'm going over there, but I get mad and I die because it's my mistake. I should not have done this. And just watching over this footage is just me being like, what is wrong with me? But I go over here and I'm gonna get pushed by Pathfinder in a second. But and I'm not gonna last that long.
Good team on me. Guy on me. You fucking mean? What the fuck? What is this? No, you're not.
I also now notice there's a conveniently like
police location.
But yeah.
What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? You know.
Anyway, after this, it's a pretty solid game. After this, I kind of like put myself into overdrive.
I'm fucking running like an idiot.
After this, but anyway, that's me getting angry, and I don't normally get angry, but after another thing I wanted to mention. After this, I'd already dealt with like several teammates that didn't just kept mocking. When I went to go and trim this video, I actually watched one of those instances, and it was actually like 2 games before this, and we got a guy who was, how do I say, they were just talking smack for no reason. After I'm just sitting here alive carrying the team, and they going off and dying, and I'm just like, you're going off by yourself. It's not much I can do to keep you from doing that, other than say, hey, don't do that. The chances of you listening is very minimal. Half the time, I realized with randoms, if you do say something, even in master lobbies nowadays, it's only like this season. The higher you go up, and I know it's weird, but like because of how the system is now, but the higher you go up, the worse the people get.
I'm
In
just
some
pissed,
say
though.
not the worst, but like
I should not die
the
to fucking
worst
Pathfinder.
kind of players,
That's
the
my
types
issue.
of players, not like
Like, I
how
literally
well
have an
they
issue with that.
play or
I
how
die
if they're
to
good
that.
or bad.
Never fucking die to damn Pathfinder.
It's more or less like, for instance, I can be going in as in these master lobbies, and I'll get people who are like Diamond
I
4
had everything
or
for
lower.
the G7
I got
schedule
a plat player one game.
and I died.
I got literally I'm masters and I'm hitting with 2 plats half the time, and even when there are people with my skill, they're not as conventionally that well. A lot of people I'll get every now and again, every other game, a couple. I think a rat or two,
Even worse.
even more. And I'm just like I don't know what to
You
do
know what, I'm gonna roll it.
when it comes to like trying to gain points, because a lot of the time I'm in ranked, I'm solo queuing, and I'll lose. I had
I still have
today during this day. This is the day I actually had a very bad time in ranked, and I still ended up getting up to 35,000, which is my current amount of LP, and I still
He was literally
managed to pull up around 2 to 3,000, and I was still losing around 1,000 to 2,000 at the same time. So like, I lost a lot of LP, but gaining more in return. But I realized that, like, cause this day, I'm in on a little bit of a win streak, but at the same around after this game, I go on a win streak. It's crazy. But it's it's weird because the game nowadays is more weird. Like there's more rats, and I've seen my fair share of rats now, more than I should. I told a story, I think, in my last video about a team hiding up in a corner, and I walk in, and they're all just sitting in the corners of the building.
I'm only gonna. I have double.
And the funny story is, my friend ends up hiding up in a corner of one of the games we played there in this day, and he's like, "Holy crap, this is overpowered!" Because we had nobody would look up. I don't know what makes me different, because I look up. I always look up. And that's because I walked in on one team this season, and there's an entire team hiding up in the rafters in one of the buildings. And I'm just like, what in the world are you doing? There was a full team. I was with a Apex Predator, a multi-time Apex Predator, and he wasn't even trying anymore. He was like, this season's so freaking easy that I'm like, I don't really care about ratting. I'm just gonna rat because there's no need to play the fucking game at this point. And I'm like, okay. If that's how you feel about it, I can't change that. But to me, the game gets boring, and as you see, this game, all I'm doing is just chilling. I'm not really doing anything. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just chilling, hanging back, hanging ring, because this is how much, pretty much, how I play at this point. Because if I go into teams and I start rushing teams, eventually I'm going to find the team in the lobby that's actually a 3-stack. And probably, because I'm in master lobbies, I'm getting queued with like the 100th Preds and 400th Preds and the first 10 Preds. Top 10. And I'll get put with these guys, and if I go and I push a team mindlessly, it's gonna be end for my team. But a lot of like, here's another thing. A lot of the maps right now are not the ideal
Cracked another one.
maps, I would say, because right now we got Stormpoint, World's Edge, and Broken Moon. I believe are the maps that we have right now. Someone can double check me in comments, but as of right now, it's just those. It's just those maps, and
Hitting that jump pad.
Broken Moon's perfect. World's Edge is alright. It's not the best, but I'd rather have World's Edge over everything. It's been my #1 favorite since
Right.
Season 3 when it first dropped, and it hasn't changed.
Sure.
But,
What time does he get here?
that's pretty much the gist of everything. But getting on my point, Stormpoint, they put in Stormpoint, and I looked at them. I looked at the game, and I was like, okay, Stormpoint's not in the game again.
35.
Great.
75.
I absolutely hate Stormpoint,
So
and
15 minutes.
I think that I don't know why I attempt to do this, but they end up pushing us.
Hang on. Oh my god, I have.
This guy can't hit his shot. I just realized now watching that, like, how long it took for that guy to hit his shot. Yeah, they tried to push us, and they couldn't push us out of that zone. Yeah, this is where I start using the car, and after this game, I've now used the car more times than anything else. I kind of like the skin. It doesn't bother me as much as the Pastille skin. And it gives me better iron sights. I feel like are better because it's much cleaner of a gun skin. I like the skin a lot better. I think I try to hit these people with this silence. That's another thing I end up using the silence.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I end up using the silence as more of a just a do damage ability. Just get that free
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
that free
We need a better
10.
spot in here, but there's if we go down from down there, we're screwed. Because there's a team to the left who's essentially got height.
And what I don't know at this point in time is that team is actually rotating down into the ring right now. And the team that was in the middle just got pushed down on and killed by the team that is to the right, which is the team that ends up pushing us.
We ride the ring.
Another thing that I do not know is that the person who pushed me earlier on actually is the last surviving member of their team at this moment. And the last surviving member of their team is down there at the moment and is in that tunnel that we end up getting, or not the tunnel, but the bridge. We end up going from here to the bridge. And the interesting thing is that
Hey,
you're gonna realize
it's
during
okay.
this final
I think
that
you need to come in. I don't know where we should go from
I'm like, I don't know where we're going.
grind it.
So my teammates come up with this plan. We're gonna go down to the bridge. That at this point I don't know that there's a guy there, and I end up
Well, it's not got much cover. Nice.
and I
He
absolutely
is lit up like a Christmas tree.
yep. And this person kind of saves me for the rest of the game, kind of when it comes to loot. And we just sit here and we just hold this area. This is just pretty much the game for now. But this is where I wanted to talk about the Death Totem, because a lot of people are very controversial when it comes to the Death Totem. I like the Death Totem. The Death Totem seems to be, to me, his strongest ability. And when I go up against somebody with Death
I don't
Totem,
normally use
I
the
kind
card, just a
of get
reminder.
like I kind of don't like it. I'm kind of a little bit scared when I see someone hit Death Totem because when someone hits Death Totem, it can either make or break your game. That at that point, because if you don't
Not a
kill that
smart.
person and they end up beaming you while they're in that totem, you're kind of screwed. It's the last team. So yeah, back off here.
I have to heal.
Then I pop this totem. But I push this seer. Get back to it. If that was normal, I would have just died right there and that'd be the end of the game. Because I can do that push again, and I cracked him when I first pushed him. It really
That's how you play Revenant, boy. That's how
it
you
really
play
it saves this game. And I can't stand it when I hear people say that
I
Revenant's
am an
Totem
insane psychopath, I swear.
is the worst ability in
I
Apex
pushed
or his
that thing
tat
like,
like
it was nothing. Also,
I can't. But anyway, that's the end, guys, and I'll see you guys all later on another video that we do. Yeah, if you like this video, you know, like, comment, subscribe. Those are the best things that you could do for me, and I will keep going.